After counting and cardinality, we'll move on to operations and algebraic thinking. So we need to understand addition is putting together, so composing, and understand subtraction is taking apart or decomposing numbers. So some common manipulatives used would be objects for counting, 5 frames, 10 frames, hundreds chart, dot cards, numeral cards, part, whole chart, place value chart, dice, and spinners. So we're going to walk through some manipulatives that we can use to work with operations and algebraic thinking. Again, as a reminder, what I'm showing you is not the only way to go about teaching children how to do these. We're looking at some manipulatives that we can use to spark some ideas and some interest and kind of get a feel for what kindergartners might experience. So the ability to compose and decompose objects in many different ways is crucial in this cluster. So students may first start to use their fingers at first to count by adding numbers together, or clapping sequences. So if I were to clap, students would have to remember that I clapped once, twice, 3, 4 times, then another for a total of 5 times. So adding some movement to it is helpful. So students will use concrete materials to model how numbers through 10 are composed together in a variety of different ways. They will describe their models using pictures, words, and numbers with emphasis on appropriate terminology. Students should be able to match their own models with expressions provided by the teacher. So our first example here on how we can use manipulatives, I'm going to go to the website where I got this from, and we're going to need to roll a die and see where the frog goes, and then we'll go from there. So to get to the particular manipulatives I used, I have a link on our website. So I'm just going to move my screen over so we can see here. I'm also going to pull up a virtual dice so that we can roll our dice here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start. Okay, here's my frog, and we're starting at 0. I'm going to roll my dice, and I get a 2. So I will hop twice. So now I'm at 2. And I will write that number down as part of our lesson. We will write down 2. I'm going to roll again. I get a 4. So from here, I'm going to move my frog once, twice, 3, 4 times. And then I can write the number sentence. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. I would start all over, and I would have students do this a multiple of different times, many different times, as perhaps part of a station. And so I've got our number sentence here. Another idea, this time with subtraction, is I will start with 6 connect cubes together. I will roll the die to see how many we will take away, and I will physically take away individually that number of cubes to see what is left. So students are always seeing, touching, feeling, and it's a great way to help build number sense. And I would have them start with 6 minus something, whatever number we re-rolled, and then that's what's left over is the number of cubes that we still have connected in our hands. As you're reading books with students, picture books, regular books as part of the language arts piece, you could easily make math lessons from them. So as part of a story problem, some real life application for them. So I took this page from May I Have a Cookie Please by Jennifer Morris. You may ask the students, how many cookies do you see? What if how many cookies would be left if Alfie eats a cookie? So now we're thinking a little abstractly. Alfie were to take one and eat a cookie, how many are left? What if Alfie eats two cookies? You could take it a step further. What if Alfie's mom brought 3 more cookies? Or what if Alfie's mom took a cookie? There are many different ways that you can compose and decompose, add, subtract when you're in a book. Always bringing those skills back for students. Another way to think of building is we need to know how many more do I need to make 10, because we need to build to 10. So if I were to have 9 cubes together, how many more do I need to make 10? So let's talk about what that might look like. So let's say I have 9, line them up. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many more do we need to build to 10? We need to clip another one on to build to 10. You could do, if I have 1, 2, 3, 4 hooked together, how many more do I need to get to 10? So then they would need 6 more to build to 10. All right, so let's also talk about in number frames. Let's do a 10 number frame here. Let's say I have 5, or I suppose we have 3 dots, excuse me. 1, 2, 3. How many more dots do we need to build to 10? So students say, well, we need 2 more on the top, and we need 5 more on the bottom, for a total of 7 red dots to get to 10. So asking these same types of questions over and over and over again in a variety of different ways helps students understand patterns, adding, subtracting, etc. So what I'd like you to do is pause our video and go into the lesson and watch video 1, which is found just below our lesson in Moodle, and come back and finish listening to our lesson video. So pause this and watch that one real quick and come back. After watching video 1, I want you to think of some possible questions for addition and or subtraction you could use while watching that video. A moment to pause here and there within the video to make it an interactive experience for students. Within story problems such as the one you just listened to and watched, we need to avoid keywords that we are so used to saying, such as sum automatically means addition. Modeling is the key here. Understanding what is happening, digesting number sense, that is the goal. So let's say there were 2 children playing on the swings at recess. There was 1 child playing on the slide. How many children were on the playground in all? So I clicked on virtual manipulatives, which brought me to this website. I clicked kindergarten, and under manipulatives, I clicked part whole here because I know that there are 2 children playing on the swing set and 1 child playing on the slide. So 1 part, 2 part. So if I were to put them all together, we have a total of 3 children playing together. Michaela's teacher reads 3 stories to the class before snack time. After recess, her teacher read 2 stories. How many did they read all together? Again, this Michaela's teacher reads 3 stories to the class before snack time. After recess, her teacher reads 2 stories. How many stories did her teacher read all together? So another part whole. She read 3 stories before recess, and then she read 2 stories after recess. So if we were to put them all together, we can count and see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories all together that the teacher read. Marco's teacher put 5 teddy bears on the shelf. Then she took 2 teddy bears away and put them in a basket. How many were on the shelf? So I know that there are 5 on the shelf. So let's represent just this area here as 5 on the shelf. She took 2 teddy bears and she put them somewhere else. So then on my shelf, I see I have 3 teddy bears left. So we ended up having a subtraction story, and we don't even really realize that it's called subtraction. But we definitely would want to write the numbers, write the sentences so that students can see and put them together. You can go ahead and read the remaining and practice more on your own so you can see how story problems would look. Another great idea is called shake and spill, where we would have between 5 and 10 2-color counters. So on one side of the counter is red and the other side is yellow. So have students work together or individually. Shake the counters in their hands or cup, probably a cup would be better, and spill the counters on their table. You can then record how many there are of each color showing and write that as a sum. So if I had 10 counters in there, obviously all of those counters together would add to 10, but we would be able to see the decomposition of numbers that build to 10 in a variety of different ways. We could have 2 yellow and 8 red, or 2 red and 8 yellow, but it all means the same. Do this several times with several different types of counters, or numbers of counters. Another great way to build to 10 would be to have students draw spots on the dog that build to 10. So putting 2 spots on the left and then 8 spots on the right one. And asking key questions such as, how do you know that there will be 10 spots? Well, we know that there are multiple ways to build to 10 outside of just the 3 choices here. So ask students to compare, are there any other ways that we can share 10 spots? So are there more than just the ways that we have drawn? Perhaps have a conversation with their neighbor on how did they draw their spots. And finally, the standards in Cluster C of counting and cardinality talk about early comparison of 2 quantities. I'd like you to find 2 grade level appropriate activities that kindergarten students can do to begin to understand the meaning of greater than, less than, and same as. Post your activities in the appropriate discussion board and reflect on 2 of your classmates' findings.